I'm Jim from Come Play With Us, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Endeavor Deep Sea, a game from Burnt Island Games that plays 1 to 4. This game is based on an older game called Endeavor that came out a long time ago. I had the very original version of this game, and I did really enjoy that game, but ultimately I did have to sell it because it did, it had the colonial themes that, at the time that almost every game had, and it didn't, it only played 3 to 5, I believe, originally, and, it's tough to get 3, that player count at that time for me, and so when this one came out, I know there's been one in between, but, it had the same thing and everything. It just looked like, kind of a bit of an update. Didn't really interest in me, but when this one was announced, the Deep Sea theme really intrigued me. I did like the original game system, so I was still interested in trying this one out, and also the 1 to 4 player count also made it so that I'd get a lot more plays of it. So I thought, I'd give this one a try and see how I liked it. Now, I'm not going to do a full overview of this game. If you want to see how the game plays, I have done a playthrough on my channel. I'll link down to it in the show notes below. So let's start by talking about the components. So now this is the retail version of the game, not the deluxe version of the game. But it does look fairly deluxe. Now the game's not that cheap, so it's kind of almost at a deluxe price for €1. But it is not the deluxe version, so I don't know how much more expensive the deluxe version is. I don't know if that's coming to retail or anything, or how you get it, but the components do look fairly deluxe even for the retail version. We've got screen printed tokens here. These are very nice. I like the art on them. They do really stand out. You got little subs here, wooden subs. They're pretty cool. The art on all the tiles is gorgeous. You got their nice thick quality tiles. The iconography on the tiles is pretty clear once you get used to it. The only complaint I have about the components here are that on the tiles here, there's this top left part that shows you the bonuses you get when you discover the tile, and they're kind of like grayed out. It's weird. I think they did that because they want to make the bonus for moving on to the tile stand out more, but I find because they've grayed this out, a lot of the times when I place them out, my eye is just drawn to the bonus you get for getting the tile, and not the bonus you get for playing it out because it's grayed out. I mean, it's still clear, but it's just a weird design decision. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but so that confuses me sometimes. But otherwise, the component quality is top notch. I love the art, and I love the way this game looks. I mean, you get a nice, even for the retail version, you get a nice little tray to hold all these tiles in that keeps everything sorted, so it sets up really easily. So that's really good. And then of course the dual layer boards. You don't have to get an expansion to get dual layer player boards. It just comes with it. That's great. Yeah, so that all it all works really well. The components are really good. The card quality is I sleeve all my cards, so I don't think you need to sleeve these. There are pretty good card stock, thick cards, and you're not handling the cards too much in this game. I mean, you'll shuffle them at the beginning, and then you'll have a display out here, but you're not going to have a hand of cards or anything like that. So I would say you wouldn't need to sleeve those, but I like to sleeve my cards, so I do. And then even the token quality, it's all top notch. I have no complaints about the components except for maybe that one little weirdness with the top left. How they grade that out. It just doesn't make it stand out. So I thought that was a little bit of an odd choice. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the mechanics. So in this game, it's a little different than the original game. So if you played the original Endeavor, that one was more of kind of a race up tracks on a board to try to get to these goal cards where that gave you big bonuses and stuff like that. Yeah, and there was kind of like a tug of war there. You could remove people's pieces and kind of things like that. This one's nothing like that. The core mechanics of the game remain the same. You're moving up these tracks on your player board, and they kind of determine what level you are in certain aspects of the game, like how many discs you get, and you need the discs to take your actions. And there's a track that determines how many of these come off every round, so they don't automatically all come off. There's a track that determines how far you can move and how deep you can go, that kind of thing. And so you're just trying to manage those tracks and which ones you want to level up first to help you, get around the board. That's all very much the same as the original Endeavor. So that system remains intact. Instead of putting out buildings, you're recruiting, um, specialists for your team. Is the theme change? But otherwise, that's kind of like the similar thing. You're just getting a new one every round and deciding, how to build out your action selection, and also like what bonuses to move you up the tracks to kind of like build your engine kind of thing. So that's very similar to the original game. The Instead of a static board, now we have a board that you explore. That's really cool. I like the going out and exploring the depths of the ocean. The theme really comes out from that in the mechanics there. So yeah, you're exploring. You're trying to the theme is you're conserving, doing conservation. Exploring. Uh, um, Getting these cards. I don't know what this is part of the conservation thing to get there. Discovering or researching. So that's the cards. That's kind of like a research mechanic. And then they've introduced these missions. So there's like different scenarios for each game. So you can pick a mission, and each mission will have different end game goals that you can go for to determine the score. So it kind of pushes you in different, to do different strategies every game. And then there's also starting board layout and how the board is going to lay out, what the limits of the board are for every game. So that's kind of cool. That's basically the gist of the mechanics. So let's talk about a little bit. Let's start by talking about what I don't like about this game. So the main thing, and I'm going to go a bit of a rant here again. I've done this for the last couple of videos, but this concept of adding co-op modes to competitive games, I kind of understand it. I mean, we don't have the reverse. I don't think you see a lot of co-op games adding competitive modes. So I think the main reason for this is the game designers really want to add a solo mode, which I think you really need to do nowadays. I think that's a big differentiator. I know when I'm buying a game, I'm looking to see if it has a solo mode that will help me decide me if I'm looking at two games and that I'm really interested in. One has a solo mode and one doesn't. I'll go for the one with the solo mode. So I think it's pretty essential at this point. It just adds the replayability of the game. This hobby, you need to find 3 or 4 friends who have the same schedule as you and interests to get a game played. So having a solo mode, just you can get more plays of it and just makes it more valuable. So I do think you need to add a solo mode, but I think a lot of designers kind of cheat in that aspect. So instead of adding a solo mode, they add a co-op mode to a competitive game, and they're thinking they because every co-op technically is soloable. So they add they kind of think they probably think they're getting a 2-for-1 here. Or they could add a solo mode and or add a co-op mode, and then you automatically get a solo mode. So that even makes their game more versatile. The problem here is when you're just kind of adding a co-op mode to a competitive game that is designed to be competitive. It's not going to be good. Like you're making sacrifices there, unless you design the game from the ground up to be both competitive co-op. And I think if you do that, you're kind of making both games worse because you have to make allowances for everything. And I don't think a lot of games have pulled that off. The only one I can think of that pulled that off is probably Voidfall. That actually plays quite well, co-op, solo, and competitive. But that's the only one I can think of that all the modes are equally good. And for this one, it's not equally good. This game, I mean, we know this was designed as a competitive game. It's based on the original Endeavor, which was a competitive game and never had a co-op mode. Maybe the new one that came out after like the re-implementation that came out a few years ago. Maybe that I didn't look at that one too closely, so maybe that one had a co-op mode in an expansion or something. But the original game was not meant to be co-op. I do like the idea of how they added the co-op / solo mode to this. So how they did it is instead of going for points in the co-op mode, you're using the same missions And these kind of different point scoring goals that you're going for in the competitive game, they just become goals that you need to accomplish in the co-op or solo mode. And then they just have different player counts on how well you have to complete the goal. So in the competitive game, this one says here we need to investigate the ocean, and you're going to get 1 point per zone at depths 2, 3, or 4 where you have at least one disc put down. Okay, so that's the competitive mode. And in the co-op mode, you're going to fulfill this goal. For one player, if you get 8 discs down at depth 2 to 5. And then at 2 players you need 10, at 3 and the other. So that's how they're implementing these things as goals. And then they've got some difficulty scaling where in the beginner mode you're supposed to complete 4 of these goals by the end of the game, and then they scale it up to like 6 or 7 for medium and hard. So on these mission maps, there's 4 goals, and then they have this deck of cards. And this is the biggest problem with, there's 2 problems with this. So they have this deck of cards. So you have, I think what it looks like 6 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 6 bonus goal cards, of which you're gonna randomly pick 3 of, and then you have this setback deck, which also has 6 cards, and you're gonna randomly pick 4 of those, and then you're gonna build a deck out of that. And I should say this, for the solo game, you're gonna have 7 cards total. In the co-op, I think it's 6. So you get an extra round with the solo game. And every round you're going to draw one of these cards at the beginning of the round, and it's going to give you an extra goal that you can go for. So there'll be 7 goals total that you can go for, and then for the beginner mode you'll need to get 4 of those. And then after the goals are drawn, you'll be drawing these setback cards. I don't even know where to begin with these setback cards. This is the most lazy co-op design I've ever seen, basically. So a few problems with this system. I like the idea of the goals. I really like that idea. And I must say I do enjoy playing this game solo. But I wish they had implemented this system a lot better. It's very tacked on. The main problem with this is, so at the beginning of your game, you're going to have 4 goals that you can go for. Now these missions, I don't think these missions were designed to be co-op. I think they tacked that on at the end, because a lot of the missions, you'll have competing goals on here that don't seem like you can get. Like if you go for goal 1, it doesn't seem like you'd be able to get goal 3. So you might only be able to attain 2 of the goals. There's a basic goal on every one that where you need a certain point value on this mat, plus what you get from these cards, plus what you get from these level 5 specialists. Okay, that one's really hard to get. So I often don't go for that one. Mainly because these cards don't tend to have a lot of points on them. You start with 4 starter cards. They don't, they usually don't have points on them. The point ones are deeper down in the deck. But the problem is and maybe this is more of a problem for the solo than over the regular co-op. You don't get very far down in the deck to get to those higher point cards. So you don't often get a lot of points out of those. So out of the 4 goals that are on the mission, a lot of times there'll be 2 that are attainable, right? Okay, so that's okay. You got 3 other goals. The problem with the other 3 goals is they come out 1 per round. So you're not going to even see what your other 3 goals are until the beginning of round 3. Well, there's 7 rounds in the entire game. And often what will happen is you'll get a goal in round 3 that you need to have started working towards in round 1. Well, it's kind of useless. Like this one, I've never done this one. Fully completed zones. So in a solo game, you got to have 4 fully completed zones. Well, if you don't start working on that at the beginning of the game, you're probably not going to attain that. The other problem is it can be completely the opposite of some of these other goals, right? So, I mean, this one you have to complete 4 zones. This one I have to have 1 disc in 11 different zones. So these are opposing goals. One goal has me concentrating on just a small part of the map, and the other one is, I have to explore a whole heck of a lot and get discs and move around a lot and get discs down. So these are kind of opposing, and you can get, depending on the draw, they could both come out. Then you have these track ones. You have 2 of these ones are kind of easier, where you just need to get up to a certain level on the track. And of course, the ones that they pick are the two. Like normally in the game, one of the best, easiest strategies is to move up these two middle tracks because they're the ones that gives you the discs. Um, and of course, these goals are for either move these two tracks up or these two tracks up. Okay, whatever. And these two are the easiest ones. So these goals are like you just have to have 6 science left over the game. That's pretty easy. And this one is you don't upgrade. You don't really upgrade any of your specialists, which is pretty easy too. But that could slow you down into trying to get your other goals because one of the ways of doing well at the game are upgrading your specialists. And this one you have to, for the solo game at least, you have to have 5 that are on great that you don't upgrade. So you can really just only upgrade 2. Okay, so. Um, Now there's only 6 of these, so quite quickly you can memorize what possible ones there are, but I don't know. It's silly. And even worse is this setback system. Again, there's only 6 of these, so I guess you could memorize these. But these are basically take that cards. So the game I guess is solvable theoretically because there's not much randomness in this. So once you figure out how to do a mission, I guess it's solvable, and you can probably do it every time depending on your combination of the goals. So they added these cards in that randomly do bad things to you, like and they range from benign depending on when they come, what round they come out into, basically instant loss. Um, yeah, so like this one's fairly benign. All players move all of their subs 2 zones up. Really annoying. Protected waters. Find depth 3 zone that contains the most discs. If tied, choose one. Return all the discs to their owners' staging areas and set aside any subs there. Discard the zone and replace it with the top zone from the depth 3 stack, and then place this aside a new zone. This is an instant loss if you're going for this fully completed things and it comes out late. Like that's an instant loss. I mean, I guess you could avoid it by not concentrating on the third depth, but often you gotta, depending on the goals you're going for, you need to be at depths 3 to 5, and it takes longer to get further down the depths. These I hate these cards. Crap. Yeah, so I don't even play with those cards. I've just throw them back in the box and ignore them. And I've even started when I'm doing the solo game. I'd never play this game co-op, but it is an interesting solo puzzle. Basically, I randomly draw 3 of these goals and I set them out at the beginning of the game. I don't draw them one around, and then I just play that way. And that seems to be a lot better. It seems a lot more fair. Then you don't get this random, because depending on the goals that are on these missions, because sometimes it's easier. Because again, I don't think these were designed for co-op play. Sometimes these missions are easier because the goals on the missions synergize a bit. Sometimes they complete opposites, and it could come out. I haven't run the numbers, but I've had situations where compared with the 3 goals that come out, you just get some of these. You get these 3 really hard ones, and it might be literally impossible to get more than 3 goals. Like, it's dumb, really dumb. I would have preferred them do anything besides this system. There's lots of examples of good ways to do co-op or solo. If the goal was to have a solo mode, just give me an AI bot or something like that. Even beat my own score is better than this. Really disappointing. I'm not going to say it's unplayable. If you do if you get rid of those red cards, and like I said, you just randomly pick 3 of these at the beginning of the game, it will be solvable. But I mean, it might take you 2 or 3 per mission. There is a lot of missions. There's 10 missions in the game, so I think you still have a bunch of replayability with that, even though I don't really like the system. That is the main thing I don't like about this. And keep in mind, this is a competitive game. Like I'm just saying, from from a dislikes, I wouldn't rate this as a co-op game. Okay. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that's all the bad things I have to say about this game. I actually really love this game. So, what do I like about this game? I love the original Endeavor system, and like I said, I wasn't too keen on the colonial theme. It's just so overused and overdone. So I love that they made this new underwater theme. This is an underused theme, although this year there seems to be a couple of games that have the same theme. But I was excited about this theme because I had nothing like this, exploring the oceans. It's a cool theme. Really brings you in, and the theme is well implemented in this game. The system works really well. Really enjoy the puzzle of this game. It's not super competitive. It's kind of a relaxing game. You are competing to put discs down on spots. So there's a bit of a race for that. But if somebody takes your spots, you can always go scout a new tile or something like that. There's lots of things to go for. The cards are fun. They help. You can. There's looks like there's different strategies you could go for. You can try to upgrade your specialists. You could just try to get lots of actions. Depending on the mission you're playing, there'll be several strategies you could go for. So I love all that. I love the fact that there's all these different missions, so it changes the game up, a little bit every time. Yeah, that like I said, the Endeavor system has always been really fun with this. Trying to decide which tracks you want to go up and what order you want to, what order you want to do stuff in. You throw in these specialists; they're all really neat. They upgrade. They have some of them are better when you first get them. Some of them are better when you upgrade them. So you got that kind of strategy. The level 5 ones are all different, and these ones generally give you scoring and stuff. But they have some awesome abilities, all really cool. Lots of stuff to explore here. It's a really fun competitive game. The one thing I could see maybe some people not like, there is a little bit of randomness in this game. So where the luck can come in is if you're searching for a specific tile or you need a specific tile to come out. You might not draw it. You do get to pick from two tiles when you're drawing, so there's a bit of mitigation there. But sometimes you just get unlucky and the tile doesn't have the bonus you need, or it doesn't have the certain space you're going for, and so that luck can be a bit there. Of course, there's a bit of luck in drawing these dive tokens, which will give you they always give you a choice of either science or a bonus action, and those bonus actions can be big and they can swing things a little bit. For instance, in the last game we played, I had actually done some really poor planning the last round. I think I was still ahead, but in the last round, a couple of my subs were trapped. I couldn't move them because I didn't have any move actions available. But I had some dive actions, and I lucked out on my draw. Got some like 2 perfect draws on there. The actions I needed, I could move my subs, and I ended up scoring an extra 20 points than I would have if I hadn't drawn those. So it can swing things a little bit, but it's just the nature of the game. There's exploration in the game, and so you're gonna have a little bit of that. But I don't think it's a super big deal. You could use that as a strategy, searching through the dive tokens to get extra actions and stuff. So it's cool. Overall, my final feelings about this game. As a competitive, I'm going to rate this 2 ways. Because as a competitive game, I love this game. But if you're buying this for co-op only or solo only, and you don't care about the competitive game, I can't recommend it. I'm giving it for co-op solo only, I would give this game a 4. But for the competitive game, I assume it was designed to be, with the bonus co-op solo mode that is playable and fun for a bit. I'm giving this game an 8. It'll stay in my collection. I really enjoy this game. I think it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a relaxing game. It's not it's not too stressful a game. It's just a nice game to put on the table and have a good time. Score a bunch of points and have some fun. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.